Hello, everyone. I think it's time to start. So I'm Onika. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me your time for today and giving yourself this time. We're here for about 30 minutes, and this is very discussion based, or you can sit back and listen to me talk. But it's a mix of education and reflection for you. So I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions that aren't related to what we talk about, I ask that you put them in the chat and I'll read them at the end. But like I said, you're very free to jump in and join in the discussion of what I'm talking about. And you're also free to sit back and relax, keep your video off and on mute, whatever really you prefer. But I would like to know who's in the space before I get into who I am and what we'll talk about today. So again, even if you need to leave your screen off, if you could just turn your mute off for a second, give me your name, one way you like to rest, and if you find you're here because you don't rest, one way you would like to rest in the future. And I'll start. Again, my name is Onika, and I like to rest by moving. I find cleaning, walking, exercising very therapeutic because my body is quite busy even when I'm laying down. So I especially like to lean into that, and that's restful for me. Who would like to start? And then we can just do it organically after that. Anyone? Carmen, I saw a hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. I like to rest by taking a nap. That's how I rest. But I am looking for other ways to rest that I can be alert. But for right now, that's my way of resting is a nap.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, who's next? There's only a couple of us in there. Thank you.
Hello, I can go. I'm Kai, she, they pronouns, and I enjoy laying in my bed watching Netflix, but sometimes that can turn into not resting, and like from a place of anxiety. So I also like to write and reflect as well.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else want to say their name in a way they do rest or like would like to in the future? So we have one new person by the name of Prudence. So Prudence, I don't know if you heard, but we're just going around and saying our names just so I can get a feel of who's here and mentioning one way you like to rest or a way you would like to rest in the future. Okay.
The question was how I would like to dress in the future.
Rest, R-E-S-T.
Well, my theory of being restful is having some peace of mind and being on one accord with who I am. Like today, I'm listening to what's going on with the summit, and some of the discussions are very good. So I'm taking a rest and taking in all the thoughts and wordings that have been said, and just examining things. I'm 69 years old, so I've been around for a while. I've seen the bad, the good, the ugly, and everything else. So, thinking of different thoughts. I've been in the struggle for years, and I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But I was able as a young kid, as a young teenager, my mother would take my sister and I around where my brothers were stationed in the service. So we got to see different things of the country, not just only of Pittsburgh, and the thoughts and the struggles have always been my theory, my upbringing. So I was able to have good thoughts, some bad thoughts, some indifferent, whatever. So just thinking of what's been going on in the world has allowed me to have a better perspective of things, not always anger, but some anger, yes, and some good thoughts. So, my being now at my age, I'm able to sit back and rest and be able to share what I'm doing now and just be of good spirits and having peace of mind. That's the main thing, having peace of mind.
Beautiful. Thank you, Prudence, and thank you for your service throughout your life to justice. Yeah, appreciate that, of course. So we have two reflectors. I think Kai said, Prudence, I don't know if you're here for Kai rendition of rest, but they also said that they enjoy reflecting and journaling. So that's excellent because that's what we're going to be doing today. Reflecting. I'm going to help you do that when it comes to think about it, when it comes to rest and your own sensory needs as a Black and or Indigenous person. So before I get into that and what we're going to talk about today, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. Again, I think this might be a third time just in case, you're going to get used to my name. I'm Onika, and I'm a therapist full-time. I work for a private practice called Vision Towards Peace. It's actually where I am right now. And I also work with a project called Black Dream Escape. I'm a co-creator. And my other co-creator is Winston Nunley, who's a musician here, young person. And we make music, lullabies, and sing people to sleep. And we're multi-generational. So Winston is 18, I am 32, and our manager, his mom, is 65. So I appreciate very much very different ways of thinking, and somehow it all comes together. But we focus on rest and sleep, and I do that in my personal life too. And as a therapist, I often talk to people about their rest needs. Most, if not all, of my clients are Black folks. And so it's very important to be in that position in their lives, to be the person to be able to make sure that they are resting and concentrating on their needs, especially. So I felt compelled to talk about how to do that today. And one way I do that for myself is focusing on my rest sensory needs. And that's just something I came up with to help me conceptualize what and how I know in my body and in my mind, what times I need to rest, how I need to do it. And these are all based on my experience. And I'll just list the senses that I go by, and then we'll talk them through. Like I said, this is discussion based, so I'll say my experience of the senses and how I use them in my current life, and then you all are welcome to join in. So just going down the list, a sense of home, a sense of freedom, and a sense of connection, sense of imagination, a sense of boundaries, a sense of sleep, and a sense of autonomy. And at the end, I could write all of those in the chat, but those are 7 ways that I maintain rest in my life, and 7 areas also that have been difficult for me and I've seen as challenges to relaxation and regulating my nervous system. So I'll just get started. When I think of a sense of home for myself, I think about my background, and I come from, I don't like to call it anything other than struggle. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, at a very difficult time there, and I've experienced many evictions, many disconnects when it comes to like safety and location. And so it's been very important for me as an adult to create a sense of home for myself, not only for stability, but also for a place to rest comfortably and safely. It's very difficult to rest in the hood, and I don't know where everybody else is from, but there's a lot going on when you think about living in a place like Youngstown, Ohio. So ambulances, gunshots, whatever it may be, it's just hard to center yourself and find meditative space internally. So as I've gotten older, wherever I live, I make sure that I do have that peace by my home, even if it has to be one little room or one little corner, having some kind of peace. So I like to do that by making sure my physical home has candles and things that remind me of happy times in my life. And also that it's not uh, too loud since you rise. So keep music down low, keep the lights low. All those things cater to me and the person I live with because those help me rest in my home, if that makes sense. Does anyone, now that I'm talking, kind of like connect things for themselves and would like to add to that of what like a sense of home is to them, or even how you can heighten that when it comes to rest for yourself? Cool. Well, if you have anything, it comes up, you can put it in the chat and I'll read it later. But I'll just move on to the next one. So a sense of freedom. That is again just been particularly important for me. I am a person I identify as a free thinker. So if I feel too restrained or like something is a little too disciplined for me, it usually turns me off. And that's especially when it comes to rest. So like I said in the beginning, I love to move in order to rest. I like to walk and use that as meditation. When I'm feeling off or angry or sad, I clean. I've had to work through cleaning when I'm not feeling that way because otherwise I don't do it. But I very much enjoy moving, and a lot of people would consider that like an antithesis to rest because a lot of people think of it as like sitting down, being still, which is a very beautiful part of resting. But for me and the freedom when it comes to my identity as a Black Indigenous person, got to expand that. And the way that I've expanded it is just making sure that I stay true to what works for me. And again, for me, that's moving in order to rest. And it also helps me sleep. So that's that part. Does anyone have anything to add to that? And sorry if I feel like I'm going fast. You want to kind of like get it in your head and then we can talk about it afterward. But yeah, anyone have anything to add to that? Cool. Okay. So the next sense that I've worked through when it comes to my rest needs is a sense of connection. And that has been making friendships, sustaining friendships, and understanding what connection really means. And so in my practice, in my therapy practice, what I often explain to people is the difference between partnership and relationship and what that means for rest specifically. Partnerships are beautiful. They're also quite transactional. You do this for me, I'll do this for you. You support me, I'll support you. Wonderful. And when it comes to relation, I think and I hope that it's a little deeper than that. When you start to understand someone at their core and you really start to be curious about why they do the things they do and where that comes from, I think that builds relation. And when it comes to rest, relation is very key because you need unwavering support in resting. This world for Black and Indigenous people is not set up for us to relax or rest. Actually, it's the opposite of that. Very geared to being productive, especially as creative beings for Black and Indigenous people are being seen as like warehouses of ideas and creation. And so we aren't expected to just sit or do things for ourselves or relax in a specific way that is just again for us. So you will need assistance with that. That's my theory. And the only way you can really get quality assistance is by building a relationship with someone who understands the struggle of that and would help you. And hopefully when the time comes, you'll be able to help them also. But it's not a requirement. Again, the difference between partnership and relationship. Again, just going down the list, imagination. A sense of imagination is especially important to me. I've always been someone who just appreciates being able to create freely, whether it's like being terrible at art, but still being able to do it, or having the freedom to think outside of the box when it comes to like any kind of idea or a way of doing things. And again, that's especially important for rest, I believe, because you have to be able to imagine, well, in the first place, imagine a way and a lifestyle for you to rest. You have to believe that it's possible. Only way you can do that is being creative, because it's likely that your life isn't set up for rest as a priority. Just tends to happen that way. And again, especially for Black and Indigenous people. So you're going to have to put effort into it, and not only that, but creative effort. Once again, so we're about halfway through. I've talked about a sense of home, a sense of freedom, connection, and imaginations. And now I'm going into a sense of boundaries. And I think this is especially important for identified people. Having a sense of boundaries when it comes to your rest is key, especially because there's a lot expected of people with wombs and also people who just present in a feminine way. There's just a lot of expectations that come with that. And a lot of those expectations mean being loose with boundaries, being able to say yes at any given time, being able to put yourself aside for the greater good. All those things could be useful in life. We especially need those for the fights and the societal struggles we go through. But in order to rest, you'll also have to get used to no, and you also have to get used to putting yourself first. It's one of like the only ways it can happen, unless you have people in your life who again are able to support you in rest. So if it's your time to meditate, maybe they will too. But if not, you'll have to be able to do it alone. So that's probably one of the more important ones, I believe. Then we have a sense of sleep, and that's pretty self-explanatory. The sense of sleep is being able to sleep, having a good relationship with sleep. It sounds quite simple, but in my therapy practice, I often hear people talk about how difficult nighttime is, especially because all the secrets and the hurt that a lot of people experience in childhood comes at night. And so the night and sleep become a major enemy. For a lot of people, I hear this very often. And so building a good relationship with sleep and a nighttime routine, and just being able to know that when the lights go out, you're safe. When you're alone in your room, you'll be fine, that your dreams, won't attack you, that you'll be able to, even in the dream spiritual world, be able to maintain yourself. All those things are important. If we were having a longer workshop, I'd go into those further. And I'll put my contact information in the chat too, just in case you're curious about anything that I say. But we're at our last sense, and it's good timing because after I stop talking, I'm just going to give you all another chance to add anything you want. But the last sense is a sense of autonomy. And to me, that means a sense of being able to take care of yourself and not alone. Just being able to say during a work day, for example, that it's 2:00 and I am tired, so I'm going to stop working for like 5 minutes and I'll take a break. I think that's major for a lot of people to be able to say that, because a lot of times the expectation is to just push through. I have a lot of people right now who are going through grief just because of the time that they're in. And the people that I talk to, a lot of different kinds of grief, whether it be losing someone to gun violence or losing someone because of COVID. Grief is a time to rest, especially in going through the grief process, but it's especially the time you have to think about adjusting your life and speaking up for yourself when it comes to work, especially. So if your job is saying you can have 2 days of bereavement, you might need more. And if it's possible to advocate for yourself for that, I usually encourage people to do so. 2 days is just not enough to cry. The week isn't enough. There's no time limit. And so even being again creative and like how that can fit in your life, but putting yourself first and that you know that something major just happened, you're going to have to again defend your ability to rest at whatever time you need it to happen. So again, I'm going to type these things into the things I just mentioned, the list, into the chat. And as I do that, I wonder if anyone has any thoughts to share. I know it went pretty quickly, but this is just kind of like a taste of what is possible for you, what has been possible for me. I'll leave it open. Type. And if anyone needs wants to talk but isn't know sure what to say, one question I would pose to you that you can even use as a journal prompt or a reflection prompt is how have you been treating the relationship you have with rest? Have you been good to yourself in that you prioritize rest and you think about it, or is it something that you can really sit and think about when you get out of this workshop? Even what could be improved? Jake Carter, did you have something you wanted to add? On my screen.
Hi. Yes, I just wanted to say I just joined this group, so I do apologize for coming in at the very end, but I wish I was here earlier just because I feel like this speaks, and just hearing a little bit of what I was able to catch, that this has been weighing on me personally. And so, I think I've been struggling, and the question that you had asked was really touching to me, because I feel like, especially being as a Black male that is part of the LGBTQ plus community, and just having a lot going on. And I think the last seminar or workshop that I was in was talking about having like a double consciousness. And I always joke around and say, I think I have like a triple consciousness of like who I am, and then what a white America, thinks that I should be, and then sort of my own culture, identity, and all those things. And then just how that all plays into either creating a space, where you can try to like please everybody and handle the day-to-day tasks and stress and grieving and all those things, and then also being asked to, be 100%, or at least I feel that way, to be a perfectionist at work. And so I just feel like all of those things have been weighing on me personally. And so I just appreciate you providing and sharing your story and information, because I feel like I'm kind of in that current position or place where I feel like I haven't, like, I know I need to take the time, and 2 days is not enough in this country, like having, a weekend, like I feel like I live for the weekends, and then we get to our weekend and there's like, you have family, you have laundry, you have other people to attend to. It's just, often I feel like I always find myself placing myself last. And so, yeah, I just appreciate you like encouraging all of us to advocate with our employers and with other people to create those boundaries, and to say, we need more time, especially when we're going through a lot of hardships. Like I lost, my stepdad this last year, and then just some close friends to COVID. So it's just been a lot, and so I just appreciate you sharing your story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for speaking, and rest in peace to the people that you lost. I hope their spirit is well. And you're so right. There are probably 3, 4, 8 consciousness to maintain over the course of your life, especially when you're in this world, and all of those need to be managed and cared for. So all the more reason to be imaginative with rest. Your work self needs a different kind of rest than your home self, and your self with your friends needs a different kind of rest than you rest with your partner. I think that's beautiful that you recognize that, and hopefully you have time to think about how all those different parts of yourself and ways of being can be refilled, re-energized. Thank you so much. Anybody else? I saw a couple other hands raised.
Hi, Onika. This is
Okay.
Yvette. Hey, sweetie. Thank you. Anytime I talk to you about resting, my mind is just, and my body and my spirit is just open so much. But I wrestle with this, our concept of time, right? And having enough time or not having enough time. And what I realize for me is that even when I have the so-called time to lay it down, I am not in the practice of doing it. And nor is, so there's that mindset that I have to be doing, even when I don't have to be doing. Every day I say I'm going to bed by a certain time, and I'm still up till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, just ruminating and thinking about all the things that I can't do a darn thing about. So I love the rest senses. They're like a checklist for me, right? Okay, so my sense of home, and yeah, everybody needs that. And freedom, and maybe it's not outside of the world, but only I can get that, right? For myself, no one can give that to me. But anyway, you, as always, give me a lot to think about. And I'm going to say with my out loud voice that I'm going to bed by 9 o'clock tonight, but we will try.
That is true. Yes, you will be to bed by 9 o'clock.
Thank you,
Um,
everyone.
And I thank you, Yvette. And I think too, you bring up a great point. So when we don't reach the needs that we do, especially for you, Yvette, of course, and everyone, I encourage the utmost grace for yourself, because it's just difficult to start new things. It's also difficult to maintain things because life continuously happens in a big way. That's one thing I've had to practice over and over again, is when you don't make it to bed at 9, or when you loosen a boundary that you didn't, to nurture yourself when that happens, because the more shame and guilt that you have, the less likely you are to even start a rest practice. Thank you, Yvette, for sparking that thought. Anyone else? We have a couple minutes left.
I just want to say, if it's okay for me, the person that spoke about having downtime, I feel like I experienced that this year, or I guess the end of 2021, and was going through like 6 months of like dealing with a lot of stuff, and having a lot of downtime. Actually, like I was getting home at a decent time, but just not spending it in the way that I think I was like the woman just before me said, is like I was setting a time to 9:30 was my bedtime, and I just wasn't getting there, and it was very much worrying about other people and other things, but it was just also like trying to figure out like how to breathe. And I think I keep harping on this as a Black man. I think it is not part of our culture to do that. So I think, yeah, I just really appreciate like the space. So.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm glad you talked about breathing, and actually considering that, adding to the list, a sense of your own breath. But when I work with Winston, we've like agreed to call breath like the first form of rest, because as soon as you get out of the womb, that first breath and breathing is a great way to regulate your nervous system in a very similar way that resting does. And so your breath is like your primitive, natural way of calming yourself down. So it's key. Another like, when I say key, I mean like a literal or metaphorical key that you put in the door of your mind to open up these ideas of rest. It's just another tool, but a very efficient and useful one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we could go down the rabbit hole of why that would even be a radical statement for Black and Indigenous people. Our breath, our ability to breathe is forcibly taken often, and it has been historically, as you all know, for generations. So breathing is a radical act. Deep breathing is even more radical. Just a lot to think about. Thank you so much for that too. I don't know how the other time goes. I know it's here till 4:30 and it's 4:35. So I want to be respectful of like the oh, this is until 5:30. Cool, thank you to the summit moderator. So I'll just take 5 more minutes again if anyone has anything else to say. And at this time, I'll put my contact information in the box. If you, the best way to always get in touch with me, I have like a lot of emails that I check, but the best way to really get in touch with me is just to text me or call me, especially if you're interested in some of the things I mentioned. Even if you just feel like you want to discuss more, feel free to just talk to me and see what's possible. Yeah. So I'll put my number and then I will also put my work email. And I'll put my website. Cool. Oh, thank you. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add before we wrap up? Yeah, to correct my email. Oh. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for participating and however you participated, whether you that you talked or you sat back and listened or you did your own reflection. Very much appreciated. Again, I'm just rewriting my contact information because I accidentally sent it to the moderator only. And if you are curious about anything I said, you want more clarification, I have documents upon documents about these things. So anything you might need, I might have it. So don't be shy. Again, I work in Wilkinsburg. I live in Wilkinsburg, so I'm around. And Black Dreamscape, we do rest sessions publicly, and we probably start back up in the future once things settle down. So again, that's my phone number. That is my email address for work, and then my website. I'm gonna fix that website. It's just blackdreamscape.com. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Hopefully I hear from you if you have any thoughts. I always like that. Thank you so much for coming. Again, this is a special gift for yourself, and I hope you see it as such. I just want to shout out Yvette for always thinking of me and giving me a chance to speak to people. She's the person that brought me here. So very appreciative of her always and forever. And you all have a lovely Saturday. Thank you again for coming. Very much appreciated. And